SoFlo weirdos. How you doing out there? I'm Mia Lorenzo. I'm here with Rob Robinson, a legend tripper. We've had Rob on before if you're diehard SoFlo podcast listeners. We are the SoFlo Weird Street Team. We are on a road trip. This is our second stop. We are right now in Winter Haven, and we're having a round table with Rob about what's going on with you, what's new, and we're going to talk about day tripping. So for people who may be just joining us and joining the podcast, I know we've talked to Rob about legend tripping, Bigfoot, haunted sites. Give us a little bit of background on exactly what legend tripping is.
What I have redefined it as is to go on an adventure and research and explore a legend, either local or one that you've been having, a curiosity about to go look at. It could be in different states or, different countries. And the great thing is there's legends all over the place. And a lot of times you'll find, that some of them are happening right around you that you didn't even know about it. And it's been a passion of mine since I was a kid.
So you've been at this a while. You even have your own guidebook. So Rob has books that he's written on how to legend trip, what you're going to need, places to go. We do have Rob's book on our website at SoFloWeird.com for you to go check that out. But Rob, since we've talked last, you have a new book out.
Yes, it's kind of interesting. My first book, Legend Tripping: The Ultimate Adventure. And I got a phone call from David Childress, my publisher, who's also on that show, Ancient Aliens. And, long conversation, bring it to point. He says, well, what's next? Your first book's doing really good. What's next? And he goes, honestly, I never really thought about it. And he said, well, get back with me, sometime today.
That's cool.
And I got back and I went and sat down and looking around. And I said, well, what's bigger than legend tripping in the United States? It's the world.
Yeah, right. There you go.
So I started looking around and I called him up. I said, how about, international legend tripping? He goes, I like it. Now write a book. So cool. I got back and using it as my first book as a guide on the format, how I set it up. I just started going around and I was just so, I guess, amazed, like the whole Bigfoot legend. We pretty much think it's here in the United States, but
it's everywhere.
There are Bigfoot. Well, I mean, you got the Yeti, which is actually that stories go back further than before Bigfoot ever made the newspaper, or the skunk ape here in Florida, but there's been sightings of these animals all over the place. In Vietnam, they call it the rock ape.
Wow. Okay.
It's just in Australia, it's called the yowie, which you can find a little candy in grocery stores. They named it after, candy named it after it. You got the Yeren, which is in China, which they totally acknowledge this animal being there. You got the Alma, or it's actually called the Almista, which in Russia.
Is it all basically the same, a bipedal ape-like man on two? I mean, do they vary in size or appearance at all?
Well, all these creatures vary in size, and again, I've always stipulated, or my theory is that you're seeing this animal in a different age group. If you see one,
right? Okay.
So, but I think, I guess for long story short, for the most part, these animals, all of them seem to range around about 8 feet on an average.
Mm-hmm.
But haunted places. I said, holy cow, I couldn't believe how many haunted places. And I thought England would be the top place because they had the very first ghost hunting group called the Ghost Club.
Mm-hmm.
And this was formed back, in the 1800s. When I did my research, Australia came up number one with the haunted places.
Yeah.
And I found a place in Canada, a hotel, where legend goes that a guy killed his family in there. And after, they cleaned up the crime scene and all that, the people working there were experiencing, paranormal, like they were being pushed and all that. So they sealed up the room.
Mm-hmm.
But, the thing that's really remarkable is they never renumbered the rooms up there. You got to 325, and then you come over and you're looking like, where's 326? But you got 327, where's 326? And it's just sealed it up. But they say, and of course the hotel itself doesn't like to acknowledge it. that they have a haunted room up there
Yeah.
and stuff.
Interesting. Well, you did a lot of research.
I tell you, it got to a point. Yeah, it got to a point where it was funny, where David, you got a hold of me. He said, "Rob, you got to stop writing. And the book's got to come to a close sooner or later." And I was just, it's part of different legends, about the merfolk. I call them aquatic humanoids, mermaids. And I was really surprised how many legends are around the world of these aquatic humanoids that are out there. Little people. There's stories all over the world about little people. Even Hawaii's got stories about little, hobbit gnome-looking creatures that live in the jungle and stuff. Buried treasure, of course, more or less, it was lost treasure. Because there's a whole bunch of it still out there from World War II and other places, and there's still some treasure, from the royalty that got lost. And of course, on the book too, I made a point of going over each country's laws governing treasure hunting. Like in Egypt, you're not allowed to treasure hunt in Egypt because Egypt got plundered by the British back in the olden days. So it's they're real big on that.
Have you been to any of these places?
I bring up about Loch Ness. I grew up in England. My mother is actually from Scotland. But when my dad would rotate over doing tours in Asia, we would go visit her family for a year or two, So, and then one time, I think it was 1975, that we went up to Loch Ness. And, we didn't get to stay the whole time. We didn't stay overnight and all, which I really wish we did. But I always kind of joke, I said, I'm at my Graceland, I'm at Loch Ness, But being the 12-year-old, I didn't, I was just I was so taken back how big the lake was. For some reason as a kid, I thought it wasn't that big. And I was like, wow, this is
Did you
huge.
feel anything? Was there anything eerie about being in the presence of
it is.
A little bit,
and I saw National Geographic there. And I found out later on, through reading, that Robert Ballard, the gentleman who discovered the Titanic, was out there leading the expedition.
Wow.
I didn't see him. I didn't, don't know. I just remember seeing the National Geographic banner up there, and I went, oh, I know that magazine.
Oh, that's cool.
But I didn't go over there and, to see who these people were.
Right.
Which I wish I had now.
Yeah, right. Right.
And they have a big museum now.
You would go back and tell your younger self, get over there, check it out.
My wife hates when I do that. I'm notorious for going for it.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm one of those people that it's easy to ask for forgiveness and permission.
There you go. Words to live by.
It's like in Bartow, they have this place called the Wonder House. And it was built by a German immigrant and this place, if you ever go out there, looks like a haunted house.
Yeah.
And it's owned by a lawyer and his wife now, and they have secured it up. But for a long time, it was just sitting there. And I got to go in there, but when it had the previous owner. And we drove by, my wife's like, well, that's a nice looking house. I said, I'm going up there. I want to go in. And he said, we don't know these people.
Yeah, right.
I said, well, I'm going to go knock at the door.
Yeah.
So I went and knocked the door, and Tracy's just like, oh my God, he's going to call the police on us. We're going,
She's hiding.
I'm sitting in the car. You just, I knocked the door. I introduced myself. I said, I work at a high school up the road, and I've heard so much about this place. I said, come on in. And I looked at my wife, and he said, come on, Trace. He gave us a whole tour of the place.
See, I think that's our problem. Michelle and I, we were looking into it. We called up. They're not giving any tours, but maybe we need to be a little bit more bold. The street team needs to be more bold. Just go knock on the door.
I have been told no to.
Yeah,
I've been said, I'm sorry.
what's the worst thing you get except a no?
Yeah.
That's it.
And I'm not going to do anything illegal. That's one thing I say in the book. Don't break the law.
Right.
If it says no trespassing, don't trespass.
No, right.
Because if you get pulled in, your whole trip's ended. You're going to get fined and all that. I have mistakenly been caught trespassing, and my only saving grace was I didn't have a gun on me, because the whole area, they're looking for poachers.
Yeah.
And they were kind of tickled when I told them I was out looking for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And it was like, so well, what are you doing out here? I said, I'm looking for the skunk egg.
Yeah, right.
You mean Bigfoot?
Yeah.
I said, you guys, really?
Yes, I swear.
I said, really? I'll show you. So I have bear mace. That's all I bring with me out here, as a deterrent. But and he's like, did you see it? I said, well, not yet. I may have, but you ruined it.
Right, exactly, because of you.
Yeah. But that's the only incident. But he said, "Well, you're not allowed to be here." I said, "I will leave.
Mhm.
I will go back there
Yeah,
and I will get
yeah,
off the
and
property."
you respect what they have
Yes.
to say. Yeah. What are some of the places around here where people can do a day trip?
Well, we have the
Something-
Green Swamp, which is actually, it's funny because it's just like 40 minutes up the road from Disney.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think the Green Swamp bumps up against Disney property.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's north of Lakeland.
Mm-hmm.
It has there has been numerous sightings out there. There hasn't any. I don't think there's been anything lately that I know of that, you know. And I do know a lot of investigators and Bigfoot hunters around the area, and I don't recall anything, you know, recently.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the Florida trails through there, and they got areas that you can just go walk around and do, you know, do a day trip out there. But I always say, make sure when you do go out there, you know, I've had people just go out there on a day trip, and all they do is take their camera and maybe a bottle of water, and they get
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah. Oh.
And now
yeah.
they're stuck out there all night,
Right.
you know, and there's like, well, it's Florida, it's, you know, I'll be okay, it's not going to get cold tonight. It does get cold out in the swamp.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
gets really cold out there. So when I always go, I always take a bag just in case something should happen and I get stuck out there all night, and I'm prepared to stay out
And
there.
you have a bag. It's
Yes.
not a very big bag.
No,
But
no.
it's nice and simple. You'll have everything
Yes.
you need.
I
Okay.
I keep my thermal, which is one of my favorite things I like to use. A thermal
Okay.
where it picks up heat. It'll come on just a second.
Okay.
Because anything heat source out there,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to see it.
Okay.
which is really cool. See?
Okay.
See if I put my hand there. And
Yeah.
the good thing about this thing, it's waterproof and it's not expensive. I mean, it's not cheap, but there are expensive ones out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell everybody, go on these these places where they're auctioning sites, you know, like eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many people will buy it and then they get tired of it, or they buy an upgraded model, and you can get this a fraction of what they paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's also got a built-in flashlight on the side too, so
So you can see what's coming here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it goes way out there.
Oh, okay. It's got a good.
You know,
it's
the
got a
funny
good-
story is
good
when I
range.
got this
Yeah.
for Christmas, my wife, I took my son out at nighttime. I said, let's find out how far this thing works.
Go out there.
So I said, go down this road right here. I said,
Right.
go down this road, and every now and then I want you to jump up and down and just spread your arms, so, you know, just wave your arms so I can see you. So I'm out there, and this is like at 10 o'clock at night, you know,
Uh-huh.
and I'm looking at it, and I said, okay, I see you. Go further, and he
Right,
goes down,
right.
and a police car drives up, and he said, I said, yes, sir. He goes, yeah, we got to call some crazy kid running around waving his arms out here. Some great, we think he's on drugs. And then all of a sudden my son jumps up and down. I said, would that be him?
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, it's my son. I'm just testing my new thermal. He goes,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
And then
Cool.
I yelled, Sean, get up here. And he's
Yeah.
like, what's with the police car?
That's cool.
It is, you know, but it turned out that thing has a heck of a range on it.
Okay.
But
good.
it's, you know, compared to night vision and other things,
Mhm.
you know, you can see what's out there. I
Right.
mean, it can like hide behind a tree and poke, and you're gonna, you know, you may not see it
Mhm.
with a
Mhm.
flashlight and stuff, but you'll pick it up on this.
Okay.
You know, which
Okay.
is
So you don't get caught off guard.
Mhm.
And then if something big is coming at you, what do you do?
well, you're right.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Oh, like I said, I take bear mace.
Okay.
That's I don't believe this is me about firearms out there because
Okay.
something always bad seems to happen. I mean, I'm
Right.
talking hunting.
Right.
Hunters, you know, I understand hunters going out with the hunting, but with the Bigfoot hunting thing, I just, you know, you're dealing with something nobody really knows about,
Mhm.
and if something does happen, people are going to pull those guns out quick, and somebody's going to get hurt.
Right.
With bear mace, somebody's going to have a bad day at the worst.
Yeah.
And the thing about bear mace is it works on everything, from snakes to wild boar to panthers
Ah.
to
okay.
even bear,
Okay.
you know. So and possibly a skunk ape.
Right.
But I just always feel a little bit comfortable
Do
when
you
I'm
have
out
one?
there.
What's it look? Does
I
it
actually
look
keep
like
it
a
in the car.
Does it look like a regular mace, like the little?
No, that's actually
cylinder?
bigger. It's like a big cylinder. I
Okay.
keep it in the vehicle just because I have grandkids and I don't want them.
That's a good idea, though. It's a good idea.
My son actually, I gave it to him one time when we were
Mhm.
out there, and he there's a little safety piece on it to stop you from purposely.
Okay.
And he pulled
Right.
the safety piece out. And I jumped over. I thought it was a snake, and he started spraying that stuff, and it
Oh,
got it all
geez.
over me.
Oh, yeah.
I had to take all my clothes off except my boxers because I was in pain.
Oh, okay.
So that stuff is
It works. It works.
It's still like molten lava getting poured on you.
Yeah.
And you can't wash it off and all that. And I was just, and I said to my sons, "I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to. I promise I'll never do it again." And I said, "You're darn right you won't."
Yeah. So what about some haunted places? And I'm not talking about going to St. Augustine and taking the tour.
In Bartow, there's a haunted bed and breakfast. I don't know who the new owners are of that place.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had some paranormal activity happen out of the Green Swamp. There's a bridge out there. And we took some ghost hunters on a skunk ape. And my wife, of course, really loves the paranormal investigation stuff. Asked them to take some of their gear out and walk around, and they came to this old wooden bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And darn if they started getting activity out there. They had a ghost box that, says words back.
Yeah.
And they actually said my wife's name.
Really?
And even the ghost hunter said, "I've never had that happen before."
Wow.
Yeah. We have Bartow High School, which
Mm-hmm.
the old part of it is actually haunted. We did a ghost hunt in there.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually got some voices. We put some recorders all around.
Mm-hmm.
And when we came back and listened to them, and the only stipulation from the principal there, he says, "I want to hear it before you throw it out there for people to hear."
Right. That's fair.
And, we went through it. We found, we could hear a guy's voice talking and stuff. And there was nobody. And the interesting part about the Bartow High School is the custodial workers. When they start cleaning up and the kids leave, they will go clean up the old part first because they don't want to be in there when it gets dark.
Ah, okay.
Because they said they've heard voices, they hear footsteps walking.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they said, "Let's just get this part,
Yeah.
and then we'll get to the new building when we don't hear anything."
Yeah.
And my own place, Summerlin, we've had some of the custodial workers seen an old lady, and come to find out, before Summerlin, there used to be an old cabin with a little old lady that lived out there.
Okay.
So there's an orb that right outside of Bartow that's up at a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I've been out there and looked at it, but unfortunately we didn't see the orb. I guess we just went the wrong night.
Mm-hmm.
There is a cemetery in Homestead right outside of Bartow that's supposed to be haunted.
There's a homestead here?
You get on 17.
Mm-hmm.
You head out you go through Bartow and continue on. You're going to come to Fort Meade. Past Fort Meade, you come to Homestead. Homestead doesn't really exist anymore. It used to be a town, but there's nothing there anymore other than just a sign saying Homestead. But there is a cemetery out there, and it has people have seen stuff out there, weird lights and stuff.
Right.
But it's a bit of a walk to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not nothing. It's not. They don't upkeep it. It's not really taken care of very well, and it's kind of sitting out in the woods and stuff. And the only reason I knew about one of the teachers that grew up there told me about it, and he showed it to me on the map, and we had to do some walking to get back there to see it. And we did a day trip out there. We didn't stay at night to see what was going on because I didn't announce to anybody I was going to be staying overnight, and I didn't know what the law was being out there because a lot of cemeteries you aren't allowed to do all nighters and stuff.
Right.
So again, I didn't want to. And it's an old cemetery; it has not been taken care of very well.
Mm-hmm.
And but it does have a nice creepy look to it at night. I can see this place being scary at night.
Yeah, definitely. Do we have any? I wonder if we have any questions from anybody. No? Okay, that's fine. Rob, just can we go back to the pack real quick?
Sure.
You pulled one thing out, so I wanted to know what other items that you have in there.
Well, I have a camera, but I have it on the other. I keep a lot of items with me in the car, ready to go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is in case I do find a footprints. I can lay it down to get a measurement.
You can measure, yeah.
And the nice thing about it is it just bends, so I have something there because there's nothing worse than when you do find a track and you got to show. I keep a lot of kind of survival stuff. I always take multiple flashlights with me.
Okay.
A little pair of binoculars and stuff. Water, to make once you empty your canteen, you're gonna have to get some more water. Battery charger.
Portable battery charger, right?
Insect repellent.
Yeah.
I carry a lot of insect repellent.
Yeah.
A little survival kit, a little food stuff.
Okay.
So I was given this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little tool. I didn't know what else to do with it, so I stuck it there.
That's a nice little pack, though.
It is. It's just kind of my, pack if I go out for the day. I have another one where I call it my overnight pack. And then I have another bigger one where I'm going to stay out more than just one night.
Right.
You know, again, with my overnight pack, I have a hammock in it because it's so easy to find places to put a hammock about in the woods. Here in Florida. And to be honest with you, I don't like laying on the ground. In the swamps and stuff. And I have, to make fires and stuff, and I have little. I take a lot of that instant freeze-dried meals and stuff. It's small and easy to take out there.
MREs or something.
I have a little fishing pole too. I'll me one of those little pocket fishermen they sold back in the 70s.
Yeah, right. I remember those.
I take one of those with me in case we come to a water source, maybe catch some fish or something. So I mean, I try to be smart about it and not take what I don't need, and because I've been in the Army, I've seen people take all this stuff out there and never use it.
Right.
And they're lugging all this weight. And why do that? Pack smartly. Take just what you need. I mean, if you don't think you're going to need it, you're probably not going to need it. That's what I tell somebody. If you even question yourself, because you're going to know what you need. I do take a knife, I was just thinking. But I always say my knife is not a weapon; it's a tool. I'm not out there to kill a Bigfoot, but if I do find one, I'm not going to leave it there. I'm going to put it in the back of my truck. I'm going to find me the first Wendy's, because Wendy's has got huge freezers.
Right.
I'm going to shove it in that freezer. I'm going to call Lauren and call Dr. Jeff Muldrum, all the Lyle Blackburn. Get out here, come look at this thing before the government comes and takes it away from me.
Right, exactly.
Well, they will. In fact,
covers it up.
The scientists said they will. They have to. They're saying, I'm sorry, you have an animal that we don't know what it is. We have to take it away from you. They said, why wouldn't we? We're not going to say, Rob, good luck. Oh, you lucky. You got a Bigfoot. Well, we're going to be leaving now. No, they're going to take it.
Exactly.
So speaking of stuff classified and declassified, what do you think of the declassifying of the UFO information?
Oh, the whole thing with the Navy declassifying the UFOs, and they've come up with those films.
That
is neat.
Isn't that interesting? That looks so cool.
I tell you, I have watched that one video. God, I must have watched it 100 times. The first one that came on where at the disc.
Yeah.
And then there was an article that just came up where some guy was trying to explain it. Oh, there's, the Navy, all this. And it come to find out it was from the Skeptical Inquirer magazine. And then I put down on the post, I said, the U.S. Navy says they can't explain it, but the Skeptical Inquirer says they know.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was looking at them. Some of them look like a cylinder, like this moves back and forth.
I mean, if you look at Project Blue Book back in the day, they still had some sightings they didn't explain.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've always believed that there's stuff out there. Alien abductions, I'm not so sure about that. If I believe all of them. Right. Like Betty and Barney Hill, I always say that was one that I do believe that something happened, because they, the science behind investigating, even the scientists said something happened to these two people. But here in Florida, Florida is always up there for UFO sightings. For a long time ago back there, we had the Gulf Breeze sightings, which unfortunately, I think they said they may have, found out they were being hoaxed. I'm not sure if that's true or
not. We did get a question from Jerica. She wants to
know.
Love
you, Jerica.
She wants to know what your biggest proof is that cryptids or might be real, or maybe Bigfoot being real. Like, what is your?
I do have a footprints, but I left it in the other room.
These castings? No.
Yeah, that one there. Okay. The ones up top are from other ones. In fact, the one on the right is from the Roger Patterson film. It's a copy of a copy of a copy. Okay. And then you got the crippled Bigfoot again. I got it from Dr. Jeff Muldrum, a copy of a copy of a copy. And then you got the Yeti, which is what somebody made it, what he thought the footprint was. Now, the one on the bottom left-hand side here, that was taken here in Florida in 1976, up near Brooksville, a place called Hog Island. And a gentleman got a hold of me.
You can see this one.
He got a hold of me about it, and he said, hey, I'm going to tell you a story. When I was growing up, I used to come visit my grandparents over there in Hog Island, and I met this old Vietnam vet who lived in a trailer. And he was growing marijuana in the back of his yard. And this, was illegal, But he kept saying something was coming back there and trampling all over his pot plants.
Mm-hmm.
And he caught a glimpse of it. But one day he found the prints and he made some casting and he showed my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And, he called it the Withlacoochee Man.
Oh,
Because it was
yeah,
off the
okay,
Withlacoochee
okay.
River.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, the gentleman passed away and made my friend the executor of his estate, which
Mhm.
really was just a trailer and stuff. But when he went through it, he found
The casting.
the castings. And he showed them to me, and I said, "What do you think?" I said, "Can I have them?" He goes, "Well, no, you can't have them."
Yeah.
I said, "Can I make a copy of it, please?"
Right.
Now, there was a left foot, but the left foot was damaged. So, because,
Okay.
when the guy made it, he just used plaster of Paris.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And left foot, we couldn't put it back together, but I was able to, do one of the right foot. And I like this because, there's some people or investigators say that, the skunk ape is about 6 foot tall. Do you really think an animal 6 foot
heck
tall,
no.
man?
No.
Now, if you doing research and going through newspaper articles all the way back into the 70s and 60s, they again average about 8 foot tall. And again, we've had deputies and police see these things,
Mm-hmm.
and they said the thing looked about 8 foot tall. People want to see what footprints in Florida look like
Right.
versus the
Oh, right.
So these are from different locations.
Yes. The bottom right-hand one is the one I got from Ripley's. It was taken in Washington, but they got it, and they made a molding. Somebody said, "Well, how come you haven't found a dead body?" Well, if I did find a dead body, we'd know exactly what we have now, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know why we haven't found a dead body, other than these animals they stay away from humans to begin with.
Right.
There's bears and other animals out there, but you don't find
Right.
carcasses of them.
Right.
But then again, nature has its own garbage disposal out there too.
They do, of course. All right, so Rob, this has been fantastic catching up with you. I do want to go out on a skunk ape hunt with you at some point, and we will do that, and we will bring it to our audience. I do want to thank everybody out there for tuning in to our SoFlo Street Team on the road. But before I go, we have a thing that we would like for you to do. Michelle, you had some stickers, right? Let me grab these stickers.
Yep.
You could see the top of my head. That was not classy. I get that. But anyway, if you message us, we'll be happy to give you some SoFlo Weird Show stickers. You can be part of the SoFlo Street Team. What you would do is you would stick these in different locations, take a video of it, post it, and do hashtag SoFlo Street Team.
SoFlo Weird Street Team.
SoFlo Weird Street Team. Michelle keeps me in line here. So message us. We'll get you some stickers, but you got to do your part and put them around town and be part of the street team. Okay? So thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, and peace out. Stay weird, everybody.